online broadcast network, Afterbuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. Afterbuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yes, guys, we're here playing Madonna Vogue, one of my favorite songs of all time. Finally here on the Project Runway All Stars after show on Afterbuzz TV. Yes, I'm all alone today because all of my co-hosts have unfortunately had to go home sick. But that's okay. I was actually a little bit excited today because I get to talk fashion, non-stop for 35 minutes. So as you know, you can find me on Instagram at Dan Babic and find me on Twitter at Dan Babic with an _. And let's just pay a moment to the Queen Madonna Vogue. Liz, come on guys. If you're at home, I want you to be doing the Vogue and all of that. Flawless. Look at that, we've even got some lights going. Vogue. You got to the music. Come on, we've got to bring it to the end. Come on, guys. I'm expecting to be dancing all in your homes. Vogue, 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 Vogue. Well, today on Project Runway All Stars, it was all about unconventional vibes because, as you know, the highest rating episode every year on Project Runway All Stars is Unconventional Week. So this week, the contestants had to really use their creative minds. It's all about bringing their creativity out, where they had to rely on the New York Police Department, the New York Fire Station, and New York ambulances in order to make creative looks. So this is really a test, and I've got to say, I think it was my favourite week yet. As you know, I'm a huge Oprah fan, and I always like to do my favourite things, and I have to say, this is my favourite episode. It was flawless. I think the outcome was incredible. And I've got to say, apart from one little design known as Stella's, I thought everyone did such an impeccable job. And one of the nicest things that, you know, in watching the challenge kind of build today is I feel like everyone was kind of coming together for once. I loved seeing, you know, everyone kind of help each other out, and everyone was kind of getting rid of their egos, and it wasn't so cocky, and just kind of feeling a bit fresh and feeling a little bit insecure. And it's definitely a hard challenge. It's definitely the hardest one yet. And what I loved that Sam and Ken were willing to help out some of the other stars tonight and designers that were struggling, and I thought that was really nice because we have seen a little bit of controversy, and you all know I'm a Sam, I'm not a Mitchell. I'm all about the Sam vibes, and I love his designs, and I love that he you know, with Ken, that he really helped out a few other designers that were struggling tonight. And one of the biggest lessons I actually learned from tonight, when our good judge Isaac said it's really about following your gut feeling and never second guessing yourself. Because obviously, as we saw when, you know, Stella was having her little one-on-one, and she really was very passionate about her coat, and she was told to just let it go, as they would say in Frozen, and she didn't want to let it go, and she really had that intuitive feeling tonight that her jacket could have won her the prize, that she could have been #1, and she decided to go against her gut feeling and do something completely different in 6 hours and start fresh. So for all you designers out there, I think that's the best advice you could be given ever, that to always follow your gut feeling, because at the end of the day, you truly know for yourself, and it doesn't matter what anyone else around you says, whether they're the biggest designer in the world or the most unsuccessful designer in the world. I think deep down we all know. So that was what I really liked. And once again, it's just fun. It is just so exciting because the guidelines this week were, obviously we had to use the emergency services in good old New York to design our clothes and to make our clothes. But one of the critical criteria was it had to look like it was made out of normal, everyday materials. So they had to make sure that it was not looking like they were in fact using all of these obscure materials found within the police department and the ambulance services, that it had to look like it was runway ready for a New York Fashion Week, a Paris Fashion Week, or a Milan Fashion Week. So I thought, without further ado, I have got so much breaking down to do tonight, because obviously we normally have 3 of us and we break down them quite quickly because we like to chatter, but I want to get into the designs. I want to talk you through them all, and I want you guys to know my thoughts and my insider information about what I think worked and what I think didn't work. So without further ado, if we can get some music on the way, these are the designs for tonight, and we are breaking them down here on Afterbuzz TV. Woo! Here we go. We're bringing up the pictures now. So, first on the runway was Miss Emily. And as you guys all know by now, I am a huge Emily fan. Why, you may ask? Because I think she is innovative, I think she is different, I think she is stylish, and I think there is no one else like her. So for all of you guys out there that didn't get to, is this some music we've got going? Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's like ask and you shall receive. Well, I was going to start with Emily, but it appears our first photo is Mr. Mitchell Perry. And as we all know, oh, this is Gaga fashion. I'm ready to get my dance on, I tell you guys. Oh, fashion. It's just amazing. I just love this week. So we started with Mitchell Perry, and he used gauze. So a very hard material to use, and something that's not conventionally used in fashion or in any type of designs, because it is so hard to work with. And he decided to do a red plunging dress with a V line at the front, covering the beautiful chest, but coming down and just showing just a little bit of cleavage at the bottom. And he also decided to design that with some diamantes and some badges from the police department, which was scattered all across the left-hand side of the V-line neck dress. And then he decided to mix it up with some tassels on the bottom, and then some tassels on both the left arm and the right arm. And given I do always have a little bit thing about Mitchell, because we all know I'm a Sam, but I did really like this dress. I would have given it a 6 out of 10. Wasn't extremely in love with it, and I think if it was another week and it wasn't the All Stars, I probably would have given it a 7 or an 8, but the standard was so high tonight. But it definitely was something very dainty. It was something it had a bit of a Kate Moss vibe. And if she was a performer and on stage, and I feel like if she was going to have a song and she was going to put on a performance art piece, this is something she would wear. And the tassels kind of moved in the direction it flowed. His was the only dress that flowed when the model walked, which he couldn't stop talking about, which he kept going on and on about how it flowed and stuff. But in comparison to the rest of the competition, it actually was a little bit of a mediocre dress. So that's why I've given him the 6, and I think what he needs to do is he needs to stop focusing on everyone around him and start focusing on on himself, because he's obviously so concerned about every single person around him and what everyone else is up to. So I just say, Mitchell, focus on your own craft and let your work speak for itself, because as we heard from Mr. Isaac again, he was full of the quotes tonight. I just want to give him a big gay high five, a big gay hug and all of that. He said, the only thing less chic than presenting something on the runway which is disgusting is an excuse. He said, excuses are the most least chic things in the entire world, and I always feel like we're getting a lot of excuses from him. And so 6 out of 10, but great job, you're safe this week. And do you know what? I can't wait to see what you deliver next week, but I'm definitely a Sam. We're now going to move on to the next picture. Who do we have in stock here? We're kind of mixing it up. We're not going in order. We have Miss Leana Agula, and she decided to use gauze and bandages. And her quote from tonight is, I really like it because I made it look like suede. And that she did. It looked like suede. She had the purple going on. It was very commercial, very kind of basic in the sense that you could see this anywhere in the world, but kind of amazing, because the fact is she made this out of materials that were meant for a fire department. That is insane. But I am only going to give her a 6.5 out of 10 because it is made impeccably. It fits the model to a T. It is flawless. But we've got to understand the judge tonight was Mr. Johnny Wujek, Katy Perry's creative director, who was responsible for all of her hottest looks on and off the red carpet from her performances. And I think when you've got someone like that, I think, in my opinion, he's one of the most talented people in the industry, and you can really go nuts with him. He likes avant-garde, he likes bigger is better, he likes it all, and she just went a little bit too commercial for me. Very nicely made, and a very safe outfit, and I am impressed that she managed to make it look like suede indeed, but too safe. So I'm going to give you a 6.5 out of 10, very safe, and I want to move on to one of the more fresher designs. Well, it appears we have Ashley Daniels, who wasn't, well, Asha Daniels, sorry, I'm calling her real name there, and I think she cut a lot of slack from the judges. I do agree that there needed to be more pills, because when you go for a trend, and especially if you're going for a nightclub aesthetic, it can really tell a story. And I know tonight it was supposed to look like it was runway ready and something that you would see off New York Fashion Week, but costumes tell a story, and especially with the pills, amazing. She should have gone all out, and it could have told the story about, you know, the good old slutty girl on a night out with the skinny legs that's had too much cocaine, that's had too many ecstasy pills, that's on the complete rager, and instead it was just kind of dabbled here and dabbled there. For you guys that are listening via podcast, I'm going to explain the dress just very, very quickly. So it starts off with the slashes. So she's got the hot pink slashes on the right, hot pink slashes on the left, and then she's poured in some amazing X-rays materials that she's cut out to give a bit of a silver vibe and to act as the outfit's jewelry. She's also using gauze to hinge in the waist there to make her look super slim and very spectacular. But the length was a little bit too short and a little bit too odd because it was on the verge of being slutty, but yet still very commercial. It was just too much, and I honestly think the only thing that saved her with this dress was the overall look, because as everyone knows, you can have a mediocre dress, so you can have the plain, mediocre little black dress that you bought for $30 from your local, you know, Goodwill store, but then you can really juice it up with some amazing hair, some amazing makeup, and some amazing shoes. And this dress, actually, if you look at it by itself, it's probably a complete train wreck, but because she's got Black Barbie, as she described, with her beautiful voluptuous lips, her beautiful, stunning orange hair, her makeup that's popping, she's obviously got the silver eyeshadow on, and she made a complete look. And I'm going to actually give her, you know, a 5.5 out of 10 here. I think the dress is probably only a 4 out of 10, but I think because of the overall look and what she created, she really saved herself. And I know the judges don't look at the overall look, they look more at the individual pieces, but it is just for all you people out there, if you've got a very average dress or a very average outfit, you can zhuzh it up. Zhuzh, 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 zhuzh. If you have the right hair, the right makeup, the right shoes, you are good to go. And I also want to say, if you guys want to contribute to my one-on-one discussion, please tweet me at Dan Babic with an underscore. That's DANBABIC with an underscore, obviously. And you can let me know some of your thoughts, because I'd love to have a bit of a live chat, a live questionnaire. It's great. But we're now going to move to one of my favorites of the night, Mr. Keiny Zamora. And he used fabulous doctor's gloves and a fire hose. Doesn't that sound interesting? And at the start, I was very, very worried for him, because as the judges explained clearly, we do not want to look like we do not want your outfits to look like they come from materials from a hospital, from the police station, from the fireplace. Don't you love that I don't even know what a fire department is really called? I just call it a fireplace. That's how down I am with everything that's not fashion. But he did deliver, and you could not tell that those gloves were in fact gloves. And you could see as the judges were kind of looking at his model, you know, walk the runway, they were like, what is this? Is it feathers? It had a bit of a Spanish vibe. So it started off and it had a very, very subtle V-neck on the front. And is this Kylie Minogue? By the way, guys, I am from Australia, I am from Melbourne, and Kylie Minogue is probably one of the hottest pop stars to have ever made it out of Australia. And look, now she's on the Afterbuzz TV show. In the background, while I talk about fashion, she came from nothing and she is now fashion icon, and we're playing her here tonight. So I am like feeling at home. I am like, Kylie, I love you. But back to good old Keiny's little outfit. So what I love about it is, in fact, that it does not look like gloves, but it's a very subtle V-neck. And he's got the purple at the front, and then he's got the gauze to absolutely, and fire hose, to cinch in her waist. Because as we know, usually when you do a vertical line, that makes the woman look bigger. But if you go black and you cinch it in her waist, it makes a woman look smaller and really accentuates her body. And because his outfit is so bulky, bulky, bulky with all the blown up gloves, she needed something to cinch in her waist, which is flawless. And then we go out with the cupcake style dress, like the classic wedding dress. And it's got a bit of a Monique Lillier vibe. Obviously, Monique Lillier would not be doing colourful gloves, but you could really see her design something like this out of a different material for her own collections. So I thought he was definitely a standout tonight, but I have two other little male designers at the back of my head who I thought did an even better job, but I mean, absolutely, claps, 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 claps. You killed Keiny, and I think he's got one of the nicest, most pure souls ever. And I've got to say, I actually really, really like this season because for the first time ever, aside from I do have my few problems with Mitchell, I think everyone is so talented, and I think everyone has got it. As Oprah would say, they've got it, and it's so nice to see not so many more fights, and I think they're finally easing into the professionalism and just focusing on work, because I think the most important thing is to let your work speak for itself. You can come up with all the excuses in the world, but as Isaac said, there's nothing more less chic than an excuse. So put your excuses aside, girl, and just focus on your own work and let your work speak for itself. So without further ado, I'm going to go to one of my favourite designs of the night. We all know that I think he's the best in the competition, and I think he should win. Sam Donovan. Fire hose and bandages. And see, what I love about Sam is he's very clear in his vision. Everybody else around, when he was making the gum, were like, oh, have you seen what he's doing? That's not gonna look good. It's too out there, it's too extreme. And he knew from along, he had the vision, he trusted his gut feeling, and he went for it. And oh my God, it looked like something out of a Paris couture fashion show, very London fashion week. Oh my God, I was like kissing like his feet, flawless. So he started off, it's got a very Marc Jacobs meets YSL, Yves Saint Laurent vibe, which I love. It's almost like if Marc Jacobs went completely avant-garde and then they had a little bit of a YSL inspiration in there as well. So it's almost impossible to explain, but it starts off with the sleeves, which are puffing on the side, which I believe are made out of bandages. And then it just goes slash, slash, slash with the fire hose, which appears to be vegan leather. And then all of the bandages, which is actually written on as well, which kind of look like labeling. They look like the Marc Jacobs logo, or even the Marc by Marc Jacobs logo, in fact. And it looks so expensive. And then he cinches it into the waist. And at the start, we were all not a fan because his waist was uneven. So obviously we always talk about having the black vertical line in the waist to cinch it in, but his are actually uneven. So he's got little triangles, which are cinching it in at the waist. But that's to create wow factor. And oh my God, it's like a club music in here. I'm like dancing, I'm like ready to go. I'm having so much fun right now. And to make it more interesting, out of bandages, he created a nude turtleneck dress. This was so Kim Kardashian. She wouldn't wear the jacket because she's not that classy enough. She's still not getting it. She's still got a bit too much Kanye for Adidas vibes. But this was a flawless, beautiful dress. And when you do something so heavy and so over the top, you need to bear it back with something simple. So you do one or the other. You obviously hear in fashion all the time, they always say, choose one or the other. You either show tits or you show legs. You either do the eyes or you do the lipstick. You do one or the other. So he made sure, because he had a statement piece, he pulled it back with a neutral tone, but then, so fashion forward with the turtleneck. And he's definitely my top two. I have another one in my top two as well. But I'm going to reveal after I've gone through all the designs who was my favourite and who was my least favourite. But do you know what? Well, we all know Stella's my least favourite, but I'll tell you why when we go through her design. Our next design was by Dom Streeter, and he went for the X-ray vibes. He did the gauze and all of that. But one thing I wasn't liking about this outfit is its fit was disgusting. It could have been a very chic moment. It could have been a very Row by Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Minus, the colours are very bright because they pull it back and they're more dull and East Coast and New Yorker. But it did not fit. And I love an oversized piece more than anybody else, especially on an anorexic model. I think if you look like you're starving and if you look like you popped straight out of Auschwitz, there's nothing more glamorous than wearing something completely oversized. Love, love, love. But a bit messy, a bit crafty. But the gauze and the X-rays, they look like sequins. Dead set from a distance, you would not be able to tell that they were not sequins. So we had the beautiful out of the gauze. He had like an orange little jacket, a poncho thing, which was stunning. But then, which was too much, was the orange band in the middle to cinch the waist. He should have brought that dress in completely cut it down at the bottom, and it would have been a stunning bondage dress, a bit like a Hervé Léger vibe. That's what he should have done. He should have had the flowing coat and then the bam, bam, bam bondage dress, changed her hair. When you've got an extreme design, you can't go with an extreme hair. Should have just been up in a bun to showcase his design. But I mean safe. Safe, safe, safe. And I do actually like the arm length. I love some arms that, you know, that go a full length arm, sorry. But just those little things and he would have been a star. But we're now going to move on to another one from tonight. Who do we have here? We have Mr. Alexander Pope. And he used one material and one material only. He used gauze. And one of his quotes from tonight, because we all know I'm all about the non-basic vibes. I always say, I didn't wake up today to be mediocre, did I? No, no, no. And as his model was walking down the runway, he said, it's just a basic dress. Shocking. Basic on this week when you've got Johnny Wujek, the creative director of Katy Perry, and you're delivering a basic dress. But do you know what? If something is well made, you can really get away with it. And it was a nice dress, it was a basic dress, but because it was so well made and because it was so well executed, he became safe. But I really was worried for him because I know he's very inconsistent and I know a lot of people don't like him or even don't think that he is worthy to be on the show. Well, how's that? That's very deep. You're not worthy to be on the show. But I think he's got an interesting aesthetic and an interesting eye. And oh my God, I'm like loving my engineer tonight because another great song. I am just like, I cannot fault him for my Kylie. Like, I am just like literally going to kiss his feet as well when I see him after this show because this song is another one of my pure favorites. It's getting me in the fashion mood. I love it. But we were very lucky that Pope was safe. And apparently in real life, this is my inside information from the producers, it looked very basic on the runway. But apparently in real life, the colour blocking was stunning and it was so well executed that it actually kind of looked flawless in real life, even though it was basic. So that's often sometimes we don't get to see what it looks like in real life and we only get to see what it looks like on TV from one certain angle. But apparently in real life, that colour blocking was so on point and it was so refined that that's what got him through. So I'm going to give him probably like a 5.5 out of 10. I've been missing out on my good old numbers, but I don't know. I just feel like if it's mediocre, I don't feel like giving you a number. It's just mediocre, bitch. But I'm going to go with a bit above mediocre. I'm going to go with a 5.5, just a half a point above. But I do want to move on to one more dress. I think we've got one more left or two more left. I know we've got a Stella, but then we also have Ken's, which, oh my God, I died. So, and that looks like it's Ken Lawrence's. This was my favourite dress of the night. I just have to admit it, I thought Sam's was more innovative. I thought his was fresher. I thought his was more Paris Couture. I thought it was more London Fashion Week. I thought it was more innovative. I thought it took more talent. But nothing in the world can make a gay man smile more than when you see an outfit made to perfection. Minus the boobs. He didn't get the tits right, but if you just cinch them in the back because he had a bit of floppy tits, and he would be flawless. And as good old Johnny Wojcik said, he would put anyone on the carpet in that in a minute once the tits were fixed. And I agree with him. That is the perfect AMA's outfit. Perfect for the Grammys. Perfect for the Teen Choice Awards. I loved it. So, Ken, you get my best tonight. I know, as we know, as the show progressed, Sam got the best. Definitely the most innovative. But this was stunning. Shut it down at a fire hose. He had the big neck up top, the turtleneck. And then he had cuts as it went down, cuts on the side. And then he had a little bit of pleating at the back and a little bit of a crisscross action. And then it cinched it in the waist, went out and flowed. Oh my God. Flawless. Ken, I love you. And another one of my favorites tonight was Miss Valerie. So simple, so cute. So she used cotton swabs, gauze, and paper towels. So how it started off is they did paper towels in white. Then they went down and they did some good old cotton swabs, paper towels, cotton swabs, paper towels, cotton swabs, and gauze. They put gauze over the top of the cotton pads, and she did it in a light pink and a white with just a smudge of light pink in it as well. Flawless. It was very marketable, very beautiful, very simple yet elegant. So I'm going to give that one an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. Stunning. You shut it down. Valerie, you're impressing me because you used to be a bit of a basic designer, but now you're stepping it up a notch, and I could not be happier. And I believe we have one more design to go. I believe it's going to be Miss Stella's. Maybe we have one more after that, but I'm dying to get to Stella's to absolutely pay the absolute shit out of her. Actually, no, I feel bad because she is a good girl and she does have a beautiful design aesthetic. So Miss Stella Zotis used hospital gowns, gauze, and x-rays. And originally, as we all know, as I was discussing earlier, she had a coat, which was very innovative, very over the top. But she listened to everyone around her and her mentor, and she decided to create something last minute where she created the New York skyline in a midriff top, which appears like a white t-shirt that's flowing, and then she's got the x-rays as well, which are creating the New York skyline, and then she has a light blue bubble skirt, which she has made out of a hospital gown. Super cute for Forever 21. And unfortunately, this is where the competition is at. It's actually not that bad. If it was on a Forever 21 runway, we would be like, that's very impressive. Even a Zara, do you know what? Even if Jean-Paul Gaultier did a ready-to-wear collection, it could be even that. Minus the shape and minus the fit of the bubble skirt. But it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. And when you've got this type of challenge and this type of week, where you can just go for it. You can create something so unique and so diverse and so different, and to deliver something like that, excuses are not an option. You just have to follow yourself, because as we've said, I keep repeating it, there is nothing less chic than an excuse. So, baby, you were gone, out, and that is the reason that she got the can today. So I think that's all it for our designs, and the winner of tonight's challenge, as we all know, was Mr. Sam Donovan. And I do agree with that. I was just a little bit of a Ken vibe just because I thought his execution was so beautiful, but Sam's outfit was flawless. It was so amazing. So moving on, so we obviously got good old Sam as a winner, and then we also got Stella, who's now leaving us. She took it like a lady. She said, you know, I'm just so grateful to be here and to have this opportunity. It feels amazing. And then we got a bit of a sneak preview into next week, and shit's going to hit the fucking fan, people, because Sam and Mitchell are at it again. I've also been given insider information. Mitchell is getting the jealous vibes on Sam, believing that the only reason he's staying in the competition is because he's flirting with the judges. As we all know, he had a bit of a flirting session with Johnny Wujek, which was kind of super cute in the challenge tonight, and he's spreading the rumors all around camp that that's the only reason he's succeeding. So shit's really gonna hit the fan. So I'm gonna predict a massive Real Housewives of Beverly Hills action on action, fight between the two, and I think Sam's gonna go on top because he's more talented and he lets his work speak for itself, and I can't wait for you guys to see that. And next week, actually, guys, we also have a child blogger coming to the studio. She is just 11 years old and she is making a name for herself in Los Angeles. I'm not going to reveal her name just yet. You're going to have to wait till next week. And she is breaking down all the designs with us next week on the Afterbuzz TV show. So I've had such a great night with you guys, breaking down all the fashion. I think I'm going to go to a club after this. I feel like I need some more vodka shots. I feel like I'm ready to go. It's been so much fun. And you can let me know your thoughts on tonight's episode by tweeting me at Dan Babic with an _ and seeing me on Instagram. I'm a complete Insta fame whore. So follow. It's at Dan Babic. And to finish off tonight, I think we've got a pretty good song by Miss Madonna. Have to self. Oh my god, I don't even know the lyrics. It's Express Yourself by Madonna. Have a great night, everybody. Have a vodka or 500. It's been great, and we'll be talking fashion next week. Express yourself. Be who you are. It's been fantastic. I'm Dan Babic, signing off for the Afterbuzz TV Project Runway All Stars episode. It's fantastic. Express yourself, guys. Woo!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Afterbuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the Afterbuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterbuzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of Afterbuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.